Hello and welcome to a new Zenfi tutorial. As you can tell by the title of today's video, we're going to be learning how to generate custom PDF sales quotes, but not only that, we're also going to learn how to translate these documents. We're going to use a base Google Doc template, and from there we're going to be able to translate these documents into different languages. This is going to make it easier for them to understand, be able to comprehend everything that the document says, and be able to expand the horizons to be able to speak to even more clients. Let's get started. The first step to any Zenfi flow is to set up your trigger. In this case, we're going to be using the Zenfi form trigger. Zenfi forms are very similar to Google Forms. However, there are a few added bonus features that are available when you use a Zenfi form over a Google form, which I will get to in a second. So in this case, it's going to start the flow whenever a form submission comes in. If we click on this box here, we're going to be able to build our form. You can add any questions you need. So in this case, I have added what product they would like to get quoted for. Here you're able to select the type of answer. In this case, I have selected look up. This is a feature that is only available if you choose a Zenfi form over a Google form. By selecting the lookup option here, we're able to search values from a Zenfi table. In this case, you're able to add different columns, add the different fields for each column. For example, here I have created a table with all the products, so that way whenever I add or remove a product, it'll also be updated inside of the Zenfi form. You can add a condition to be able to select which items you want to show. In this case, I have put that as long as the product isn't null, meaning I want it to show all the products. And then you're able to select which columns you want to display, if you want to show the price, the brand, etc. In this case, I have only selected the product, meaning it's going to show the name laptop, computer, cell phone, and iPad, but none of these will be shown. After that, I have added some other fields, for example, the quantity they requested, requester name, requester email, and then I have added this question called, is the requester's main language English? So if we click on the three dots here, we're able to go to a section based on their answer. So if they selected yes, we're going to submit the form. However, if they selected no, it's going to go to section number 2. If you want to add a section, you can click on this button here to add a section. And here you can indicate which language they require. In this case, I have added Japanese, Spanish, Korean, Russian. Maybe you have clients from certain countries, you can add those languages. And then if you encounter anyone else, you can go ahead and add more options. Now, like mentioned, we're going to be generating our sales quotes using a Google Doc template, so you can customize it in whichever way you want. You can indicate placeholders using 2 curly brackets, and we're going to be able to replace this information with information from the form. So in this case, I have added a placeholder for the date, who requested the quote, product, the quantity, the cost, etc. So feel free to add any placeholders that you think are necessary. Now, since one of my placeholders is the date, I have gone ahead and added a current date time action. So here you're able to choose the time zone as well as a format for the date. Maybe you wanted to have the time, maybe just the date. There's different formats you can choose from. And now to be able to get the information for the product that they selected that they would like to get quoted for, I have gone ahead and added this action called get record. So all you have to do is select the table. So in this case, the product table, which is this one right here. You're only going to be able to select a table if it is a Zenfi table. You cannot select a Google Sheet for this action. Here you have to select the record ID. So in this case, if we click on this chain icon, this is called a token picker. We're going to be using it quite a bit in today's example. It allows you to enter information from previous steps. So if we click here, we're going to be able to select this one right here. Is going to be a suggestion since it was used during the trigger. So here what product would they like to get quoted for, and then we're going to be able to select which fields we want to return. Product, price, brand, model, and quantity are all the ones that are available to me since those are the ones that appear in the table. Then I'm going to be calculating the total price. So in this case, we're using the math operation action. We're going to multiply the quantity requested by the price, which comes from the previous action. So again, using the token picker, you can open up the trigger and there's a question called quantity requested. We would add that, and to be able to get the second number, we would go to the product info and click on the price. Now we're going to go ahead and generate our quote. This is also where we're going to generate the PDF. So this action is called generate document using template. So all you have to do is set up your connection to your Google Drive. This is going to allow Zenfi to be able to access your Google Doc and be able to make edits from there, be able to generate the new document as well. So all you have to do is click on the plus icon here. This is going to allow you to create a private or shared connection. You can also give it a name. After you click on Authorize, here where it says File, we have to select which file is going to be our template. So if we click on the Google Drive icon, you can select any file from your Google Drive. Then you have to do the same thing, but now you're going to select where you want to save the file. So again, you would click on the Google Drive icon, and then you can select a new file name. So in this case, I have added the company name, which is one of the questions in the trigger. So I would put quote 4, and then using the token picker, you can get information from the form that they filled out. We're going to go ahead and check Generate PDF to make sure our final quote is in PDF format. And then we're going to go ahead and load the placeholders. As we can see here, I have the date, who requested, the product name. So all we have to do is go one by one using the token picker and assign which value corresponds to which placeholder. For example, here for current date, I would go to this one, add the formatted result. Then for requested by, I would go ahead and look for the requester's email, which is right here, and I would do that for each one of the placeholders. Now, since one of the questions is asking if their first language is English, they might answer yes and not require a translation. So I've gone ahead and added this if condition action, which has one clause. It's only going to follow the true branch when the answer to is the requester's main language English? No. That means that they would need a translation. So if they don't require a translation, I'm simply going to email the final quote, and this is going to be done using the send email Gmail action. So again, you're going to set up your connection. You're going to indicate who's going to receive the email. In this case, one of the questions on my form is asking for the requester email, so we would add that there using the token picker. You can change the display name. You can add a subject. Again, you can use the token picker for the subject, for the body, to make it a bit more personalized. You can change the font size, you can add text in bold as well. And what we're going to do is in the attachments, we're going to click on the token picker and we're going to go ahead and add this one, the PDF file. Now what happens when they do need a translation, I have gone ahead and added this action called switch by value, since there are different languages that they can choose from. So here I have chosen Russian, Japanese, Spanish, and Korean, which are the same ones that appear on the form. I've also created a variable. If you click on variables up at the top, you can create a new variable. You can choose what type, if it's a string, number, decimal, etc. Give it a name. So in this case, I have made a variable called language requested. So depending on which one they choose, it's going to go to a different branch depending on the value. And I am using the set variable action, and I'm going to set the value to whatever is the code for that certain language. So for example, for Russian, it's RU. For Japanese, it's JA, and I would do that for all of the languages I've added. The next action we have here is our handy new translate document action. This action allows you to be able to translate PDF documents, Microsoft Word documents, Excels, PowerPoint, so it's a very powerful tool. So all you have to do is indicate the source document. So in this case, using the token picker, we would click on the PDF file from here. Then you have to select the source language. You can also select on auto detect, but if you select the original language, it will be a bit more exact. So I would recommend that if you know the language, so in this case, English. And then here you would select the target language. You are able to select from the drop-down menu if there's only one language that you're going to be translating to. In this case, since we did give them various options, I'm going to use a token picker to be able to get the language requested from the variable we created. It's going to have the set value for whichever one they selected. And then all I'm going to do is translate the body and the subject of the email I want to send to the person. So using the translate text action, I'm going to paste what I would normally send out in an email if they were to speak English. And again, in the source language, I'm going to select English, and then target language, I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to select the language they requested, and I'm going to do the same thing for the subject. And then lastly, I have this action, again, the send email Gmail action, again indicating who's getting the email, the sender display name, and then in the subject and the body, I'm inputting the result from the previous two actions. So it would be the translated text. So I would paste the body where the body goes, and then the subject up at the top. And then for the attachment, if we click on the token picker, we would click the translated document. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and fill out a form. I will go ahead and indicate that the main language is not English, and I'll select Spanish, click on submit, and it should start our flow. Now if we open up our flow runs, it's currently translating the document, the body, the subject, Now it's emailing the final quote, so let's go ahead and open up our email. And as you can see here, we can see that the body, the subject, everything is in Spanish. If we open up the quote, it's also in Spanish. However, it still respected the format where I have all the information here in the table. And that would be everything. As you can see, it's very simple to be able to generate a custom PDF quote using a template. However, still maintaining the requester's main language to be able to make sure there are no language barriers. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to check out our YouTube channel. There you'll be able to find inspiration for different use cases using different triggers and actions to make sure you're saving as much time as possible.